I'm going to show you how to make great bread, like the sourdough, the king of bread, made with natural yeast. I'm going to explain to you how to capture the wild yeast around us, create your own ferment to create great bread with great crust, great flavor. Also, we're going to make some brioche, the queen of breakfast, the brioche. Fantastic for breakfast or endless thing you can do with it. It tastes fantastic, full of eggs, full of butter, full of flavor. And mixing technique, I'm going to show you the way of mixing the dough to get a nice light dough, and also a lot of tips how to bake, how to use your oven properly. Now I'm going to show you how to mix brioche. The brioche is mixed in two stages. The first, we're going to mix our dough. When the dough is made, then we add the butter into it to make it all nice, smooth and silky. Right, we got our flour. I'm going to put the yeast on the side there. Our sugar. Salt. First thing first, we're going to cover the salt and sugar a little bit. Then get our yeast and rub the yeast into the flour. Okay, then you mix all your flour, your sugar, your salt, your yeast very well together before we put the eggs. Now we're going to add our eggs, 6 eggs. We're going to mix all the ingredients to get the dough ready to be worked. Blend everything really well together with our scraper. Make sure you work all those ingredients really well together. It's all mixed really, really well. There's no dry bits onto it. Okay, now this is ready to go on the table, and we're going to start to work the dough to get it nice and light. So when you mix the dough, get all the dough together. Use your finger to pinch the dough underneath, to lift it like little forks. And then your thumb has got to be parallel with your 4 fingers. And you can lift the dough and swivel and step it down. Get a nice rhythm, and very quickly you see the dough start to form and become less and less sticky. And make sure every so often you give it a good scrape. Beautiful color, rich of eggs. And that's before the butter goes in. It's good exercise. And this should take about 8 to 10 minutes with a bit of practice. Seems like hard work, but brioche is very rewarding. Best breakfast. It's very important your dough is very well worked before you add your butter into it. Otherwise, it will take even longer to work with your butter in. So don't be impatient to put your butter in. Just work it well at the first stage. It will be quicker with your butter in. You can see now the dough starts to come off quite nicely off the table. There's a nice bubble appearing there. It's a good sign the dough's developing nicely. Right, we're going to put the butter into the dough now. So you get your butter like that and push it into the dough. Right, mix everything together like that. Just push the butter in with your finger, like so. It might look a bit messy, but you'd be surprised how quickly all that butter will incorporate itself into the dough. Use your scraper again and start to work the dough again as you did earlier. And very quickly, all that butter will go into the dough. That should take about 5 to 6 minutes now. You can really feel the dough coming alive in your finger. Okay, we're nearly there now. I'm breaking a bit of a sweat. Dough is really start to get that beautiful silkiness and shine on the top there. Just a few more go and we should be there. Beautiful. It's coming off my hand, nice and clean now. Right, this ready now. Voila. Just a little flour on the table and in a bowl. Then you turn the dough over like so and give it a few folds. And then we're going to fold it again and then put it back to rest in a cool place for 14 hours. Okay, first thing we do, I'm going to take the dough As you can see, the dough has been rested for 14 hours now, overnight in a nice cool place. Okay, should we lightly dust our table with a bit of flour, like so. Right, now we can turn the dough over with the help of our little scraper. You can see very well the texture of the dough now. See how beautiful it is. Right, before we divide the dough, what we need to do is to condition the dough to be nice and strong, to be easier to divide. To do so, you just fold it over once, press a little bit like that, fold it again over the top, like so, and then this is now ready for dividing. Okay, when you divide your dough, I use a small digital scale, and what I do for small, we're going to divide this into 70 grams. So what you want to do is divide in two first, you'll find it much easier, and then try to get as little less bit as possible if you can. That's a bit too much there. Perfect. Try to keep everything nice and neat. Next, we're going to mold the dough in a little bowl. To do that, I'm going to take the excess of flour out. When you roll your little piece of dough, make sure they're nice and tight. This will give you a nice rise when you bake them. Okay, that's the last one now. Just gentle pre-molding there. Now I'm going to show you how to mold some little brioche à tête and brioche loaf as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is remold them nice and tight and do the brioche in a mold first. So I'm going to put some one in here, another one there. And you can put 6 or 7 pieces in there, as you wish. This one here. Beautiful. Right, now I'm going to mold a little brioche à tête. You should remold them lightly. Don't press too hard. This is nice and smooth. And then you got in your hand a tiny bit of flour. And then roll a little head, just like that. Not too deep. And then you can press that little head into the body. It's well tucked in. There we go. Here we are, we've got our little brioche à tête in here. This is ready to go to prove now. That will take around 2 hours before they go in the oven. The brioche now have been proving for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I've just put the last touch of egg wash on it. So in here I've got whole eggs beaten up with a pinch of salt. Just make sure you don't put any egg too much down to the side, otherwise it might stick to the mold. Très bien. Right, our brioche are baked now. Beautiful golden color. Look at this. Look at that. Beautiful, okay? Want to eat them. Look at the inside of that. Fantastic. Best breakfast. Okay, to make your sourdough bread, first you got to create a culture. The way I make my culture, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I got some very good, strong organic flour, and then some spelled flour, organic spelled flour. Some very good quality honey. And some warm water, and that's all. Okay, now what we're going to do is to mix all the ingredients together to make a thick dough. That's going to be rested after that for 24 to 48 hours. So mix your ingredients really, really well together with a wooden spoon. You can smell the honey, it's fantastic. Just do like a very, very thick batter. Voilà. Keep all the dough nicely together to the center of the bowl. Okay, when everything is mixed together, just cover the dough with a plastic film and an elastic band like that to secure it. The mixture has been fermented for 48 hours. Nice warm place. You look a bit fermented there. You can see the texture, what it looks like. A bit runny there. There's some fermentation going on. So this now need to be refreshed with some organic flour again. And some spelled flour and a bit of water to get active again. So again, mix everything really, really, really well together. Your hand in there and really work it well. You into the bowl. You can really smell the ferment. It's really a bit pungent, but not a bad smell. It's nice, creamy. Bon odeur. There you go, that's all. We're going to leave it rest for another 24 hours in a warm place. After 24 hours, this is what you end up with. This is really well fermented. You can see the texture there. Like honeycomb texture. Nice strong smell. Beautiful. Right, because we don't want to have too much ferment in our fridge, what we're going to do is to remove about 600 grams of that. There's about 800 grams there altogether, and keep 200 grams to be refreshed that we use for our bread. The 600 grams remaining, we're going to put it on a tray and let it dry, and then we can transform it to a powder that we can use for a later stage that I explain in the book. Now we've got our 200 grams of ferment left in here. You can see now underneath, look at that. Beautiful. Keep it in the same bowl all the time. I'm going to add some flour to it. And the water. And again, mix everything well together. There we go. That's what you're looking for. Right, after 12 hours, that's what you upturn. It's something really starts to, again, nice and stringy, nice smell. This can rest now for a couple of days in the fridge, 1 day or two, and you can make your sourdough with that. Right, after a day or two, when the dough has been rested in the fridge, you can use half of that to make your sourdough, and the other half you can refresh it. And to refresh it, you got 400 grams left of ferment. You put 800 grams of flour with it and 400 grams of water. Mix it all together again, and then leave it in your fridge, cover with some plastic film on the top, and then keep going all the time. Use some for your sourdough, and the other half just refresh it and keep going that all the time. Right, I'm going to show you how to make the king of bread, the sourdough, the one everybody wants to make and succeed. In here, we got the ferment, which is ready to be used there, our flour, white strong bread flour, and our spelt flour. The salt, which we will incorporate a bit later during the mix, and our water. Right. I'm going to break down all the ferment into the flour. If you just crumble everything together. This will make it easier when you add your water to mix everything together. Smell really nice. You might find the dough feel a bit stickier because you haven't got the salt in there. The salt will help to course the dough together, to band it together when we put it in. But we'll put the salt a bit later. So when you mix the dough, get all the dough together, use your finger to pinch the dough underneath, to lift it like little forks. And then your thumb has got to be parallel with your 4 fingers, like so. Then you can lift the dough and swivel and slap it down, fold it over on the top, like so. Okay, when you pick up the dough and you slap it down like that, you form a pocket. Every time you trap air inside that pocket, this will help the dough to develop and stretch and form itself. You really got to believe you can do it. It's not, it feels sticky at the beginning, but the dough will come off and form to a beautiful supple dough. And again, just you must make sure that you keep all that dough together with your little scraper. It's very, very, very important. a bit of experience, very quickly you'll find how quickly the dough really responds to the technique. So when the dough is smooth like that, you can feel it coming off your finger. This is the time to add the salt to it. Right, I just sprinkle the salt all over. Work the salt by hand a little bit. And start working the dough again. You see how the dough become really, really smooth with the salt. Really change the texture of it. The dough is coming off my finger quite well now, which is always a good sign. What the salt, when you add the salt halfway through your mixing, what you do, you just allow the natural ferment to meet with the flour and to really start to react with it. So the wild yeast start to work then. They're not slowing down by the salt, which would if you put the salt at the beginning. So you just give a head start for the wild yeast to take on to the flour. Okay, the dough is done now. As you can see, it's not sticking to my table anymore. It's nice and smooth, it's beautiful. Right now the dough, we finished to work the dough. We're going to put it to rest. Flour your table, your work surface a tiny bit. So you take your dough like that, turn it upside down, smooth side down like that. And then fold it by taking each corner you're forming back into it and pressing on the middle. This will give strength to your dough and allow it to rest by pushing upwards like that. Nice and strong, like a baby's bottom. And the dough now is ready to be rested in a bowl. Okay, the dough has been rested for an hour now. I'm going to turn it over, fold it back onto itself a few times and put it back to rest for another hour into the bowl. So again, you just reshape it like so. Just like that. And this you leave it to rest again for another hour now. Okay, the dough has been rested for 1 hour. Now we're going to mold it to get ready to go in a basket for proving overnight. fold the dough onto itself really well like that, to really shape it into a nice round shape like that. Make it nice and tight, nice and strong. So you get a nice smooth surface in here and your rough one underneath. Okay, your basket. That's my proving basket. Big basket or big bowl with a thick linen cloth which allow the dough to rest on, and it will not stick to the dough. It's 100% linen. It's the best material for proving bread into. I'm going to put some flour in the basket. I use some spelt flour onto it, like so. Make sure you put quite a good quantity into it. You don't want it to stick overnight. So you prove the dough, the smooth side down, like so. There. Okay, now the dough is ready to prove overnight between 16 and 18 hours. It's morning, it's 17 hours when we did our bread. That's ready to go in the oven now. Let me show you. Okay, and that's the loaf. It's been proving overnight. She's nice and sturdy. I'm going to show you how to put this in the oven properly and effectively. Here we go. Right. For this, there's 2 tray or 2 oven peel if you have some. This is great. I sprinkle a bit of semolina on top of each tray. What the semolina does, it just allows you to slide the bread off, let it act like little pearls and slide onto it. It's a great way of doing it. You can also use some rice corn or a bit of flour will do also. Okay, now I'm taking my first loaf in here. Just make sure there's no sticky bit onto it. You don't want it to stick on the tray. And maybe a tiny bit of flour on top of that, just like that. Rub it on. And now you're just going to turn the basket over like so. Don't worry, the loaf is nice and strong. Here we go. Rub the excess of flour a little bit. That's it. I'll do the other one now. There we go. Now we're going to use our lamb, nice and sharp. And make some nice cuts, very traditional. Slice the top of the loaf, nice, neat and clean. Like so. Or you can do another kind of motif on the top if you want to. Like so. And I'm going to show you now how to load the oven and put steam into it. Okay, follow me. Right, I have my steam ready. My oven is really hot, 250 on full. It's been preheated for about 2 hours now. I open the door, and as you see, I've got the baking stone at the bottom and my baking tray there. And I'm going to spray water. And, I mean, a lot of water, okay, to start with. Right at the bottom, everywhere. You can feel the steam coming out, burning your hand. It's so hot. That's what you want. Right, I'm happy with this. Then I get my first tray. I place this right at the back. You see, slide it on to your oven, and the one on the top in here, like so. That's it. Quick squirt. Here we go. I'm going to leave it at 250 for 5 minutes, and then turn the temperature down after 5 minutes to 220. The heat's going to really start to form the crust on the top, and then we're going to let it bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. And we're going to turn the oven down now to 220. Set it back now for 25 minutes. Here we go. It's been about 20 minutes now in the oven. Yep, the color really starts to form now, you see. That's not baked yet, you've got the color of the foam there. Still a bit hollow there. Put it back for a bit longer. It's really, really hot. Top one in here. That will take a bit softer there. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to put the timer for another 10 minutes and turn down the oven at about 210 now to finish it off. Look at this. Beautiful. Listen to the crust. Nice big crust. Can you hear that? Sound of a good crust. Get your teeth into that. Result. Beautiful. Let them cool down nicely. Nice golden, beautiful color. Full of life.